There is a hidden world of risk and conflict behind gold, and a huge global push to get it right. Let's understand what these are and how the mitigation measures work. The Olympic gold medal. What does it represent? More than just an award, it stands as a symbol of the pinnacle of human achievement, of pure dedication, perseverance, and triumph that the entire world pauses to celebrate. Think back to the 2016 Rio Olympics for a moment. Watching legends such as Usain Bolt win one gold medal after another felt like a moment of pure, uncomplicated glory. Or was it? Because the story behind those medals is anything but simple. Look at this number. While the world was celebrating those incredible athletes in the Rio Olympics, investigations years later revealed something shocking. The company that refined the gold for those very Olympic medals had purchased nearly $388 million worth of gold from illegal miners. That gold came from what are known as garimperos, wildcat miners in the Amazon. These operations are often linked to violence, human rights abuses, and massive deforestation. Investigations found that the same gold from those illegal mines ended up in the supply chains of more than 300 publicly listed companies. Why does it matter? Because that gold, even if unintentionally sourced, helped fund criminal networks that went on to fuel violence, exploit vulnerable communities, and devastate the environment. Do we want the gold that symbolizes human excellence to be linked to human rights abuses? Of course not. Now this brings us to a very important acronym, CAHRA. But what does it mean? CAHRA stands for Conflict-Affected and High-Risk Areas. These are places often associated with armed conflict, political instability, and human rights abuses. However, the challenge lies in the fact that a significant portion of the world's gold is mined, transported, or processed through these regions. It's very important to remember that CAHRA isn't a permanent blacklist. It's not meant to ban sourcing from regions designated as CAHRAs. Instead, it's a signal to apply something called enhanced due diligence, to dig deeper, verify counterparties, review transactions more closely, and really understand where the gold is coming from so that companies can identify and mitigate risks and make sure they're sourcing responsibly without contributing to conflict or harm. You might ask, well, why not avoid these areas altogether? The answer is that roughly 20% of the world's new gold comes from what's known as artisanal and small-scale gold mining, some of which operates within CAHRAs. But more than the supply of gold, these activities support the livelihoods of about 20 million people, entire families and communities in some of the world's poorest regions. A blanket ban would do far more harm than good. We've already seen what happens when well-intentioned laws collide with complex realities. Back in 2010, the United States passed the Dodd-Frank Act. Section 1502 aimed to ensure that profits from conflict minerals, such as gold, were not linked to armed conflicts in the Democratic Republic of Congo or its neighboring countries. In 2013, the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, issued regulations to enforce this provision, requiring companies to trace the origin of these minerals and disclose whether their products were not found to be DRC conflict-free. Unfortunately, it didn't work as planned. Instead of helping companies clean up their supply chains, it created an unofficial boycott of the entire region. Companies pulled out, unemployment spiked, and the trade didn't stop, it just went underground. Gold was smuggled across borders into Rwanda and exported as Rwandan gold. It became a textbook example of unintended consequences, a good idea that completely backfired. The good news is that the world learned from those mistakes. Today, the approach is much more nuanced. It's not about boycotts, it's about managing risks. And when we talk about managing risks, the global standard is the OECD due diligence framework. It sets out 5 steps for responsible sourcing. Step 1, build strong management systems to trace your supply chain. Step 2, map and assess the risks. Step 3, create and implement a strategy to manage those risks. Step 4, conduct independent third-party audits. And finally, Step 5, report publicly on what you've done. These are the pillars of responsible sourcing as it is understood today. A very important part of this risk management process is identifying red flags. So, what does a red flag look like in the real world? Here's one example. A report found that, in a single year, one U.S. refinery sourced 6.6 tons of gold from Bolivia, even though Bolivia's entire national production that year was only 6.3 tons. How can one refinery buy more gold than what an entire country produces? That's a huge red flag. And that's just one type. Others include sudden surges in gold shipments from countries with little or no known reserves, or gold passing through transit hubs associated with smuggling. Even incomplete KYC documents or the use of insecure shipping routes can be a sign that something isn't right. Every one of these signals means it's time to stop and dig deeper, to strengthen due diligence and build an ecosystem of responsible sourcing practices. To help us understand and manage risks better, we now have tools that deliver reliable, real-time intelligence. Organizations such as the Heidelberg Institute, the RULAC Project, and the Uppsala Conflict Data Program track political violence and governance risks around the world. This makes dynamic, intelligence-driven risk assessment a key component of responsible sourcing. In the UAE, the Ministry of Economy has introduced robust due diligence regulations for the responsible sourcing of gold. These regulations are built directly on the 5-step OECD framework and require gold refineries to implement its principles in full. And it's not just for refiners. A newer regulation has extended the first 3 steps of the 5-step OECD framework to other relevant entities and precious metals dealers across the supply chain. This comprehensive framework has played a significant role in strengthening the integrity of gold supply chain. AKW Consultants, a global leader in the responsible sourcing of gold, has been an important part of this journey. As one of the few accredited UAE good delivery auditors and a Ministry of Economy approved reviewer of gold refineries, we have worked closely with regulators and industry stakeholders to strengthen compliance and governance across the gold supply chain. AKW has supported multiple entities through third-party annual reviews, site-based due diligence in Africa and Latin America, and extensive training programs aimed at building local capacity. Our collaboration with governments, artisanal and small-scale miners, financial institutions, and international organizations continues to advance best practices in responsible sourcing. Protecting the integrity of your gold, AKW Consultants.